Chapter 2. Read. The fire wouldn't go out. It had been burning since before dawn, low and steady, licking the stone like it knew a secret I didn't. I stared at it from across the room, arms folded, boots muddy, mind knotted. "You're going to burn a hole in the floor, you know," I muttered. The fire crackled in what I swore was amusement. I'd been at Hollowspire Keep for 3 days. Long enough to know the walls whispered at night and the mirrors didn't show reflections if you lied to yourself. The place was old, older than any of the carved runes admitted, and it smelled like sage, steel, and something sleeping just beneath the floorboards. Outside my chamber window, the sky rolled in slow layers of mist over the Scarlands, where the magic had burned too hot, too long ago. Nothing grew there anymore, just scorched earth and the shadows of old dragon bones turned to stone. But the wind still carried sparks sometimes. Sometimes you could hear wings. Not that anyone believed me. Read the Wanderer. Read the Orphan. Read the Liar. I paced. My room was small but finely built, tucked in the western tower where the walls were thick and the ceilings slanted like a ship mid-sail. A crow watched me from the rafter. I hadn't invited it. I wasn't sure it blinked. Every few hours, someone knocked. A servant, a scribe, a mage with parchment eyes. They asked questions with veiled smiles. About him. About what I'd seen. About what I was. I gave them answers like locked doors. Let them guess. Let them wonder why a boy with no name and less magic had survived what should have turned him to ash. I ran a hand through my hair and exhaled. The air tasted like lavender and old pages. The fire gave a sudden snap, sending a small burst of blue sparks upward. They fizzled into the air and vanished. I stared. That wasn't ordinary flame. It had been dragonlit. That meant they'd been watching again. Testing. Measuring. Waiting to see if I'd crack. I didn't. I never cracked. But I felt it, under my skin, in my blood, in the way the world sometimes flickered just for me. There was power waking up. Power I hadn't earned. Power that scared them. And maybe, if I was honest, scared me too. I stepped closer to the fire. The blue glow faded back into orange. The stones warmed beneath my bare feet, and in the hearth I could almost see it. A shape, a wing, a sliver of ancient heat curled in the flame like a sleeping wyrm. They said dragons were gone. They said more Caley fell with them, and no heir would ever rise from the ashes. But they didn't know me. Not really. I turned toward the window again, toward the far-off lights of the city I hadn't seen since I was small. Windmere, they called it. Crooked and wild and impossible. The place where the last of the old magic still stirred, untamed. And somewhere in that city was the boy from the vision. The boy with the dragonling on his shoulder. The boy who should have burned, but didn't. Jace. I didn't know why I remembered his name when I woke gasping. Didn't know why the dreams pulled me there again and again. But I was going to find him. And when I did, everything would change. The knock came again. 3 sharp taps, like a sword against glass. Not a servant this time. I straightened my collar, which was fraying, despite the tailor's best efforts. My boots were still dirty, but I didn't care. Let them see what I was. "Enter," I said. The door opened soundlessly, revealing a tall man dressed in robes the color of old moonlight, layered silk with embroidery so fine it seemed to shimmer when he moved. His hair was plaited in the northern style, bound with slivers of bone and crystal. His eyes were hooded, unreadable, but power crackled around him like a cloak. Archmagister Elian Doctorist, second to the Queen, keeper of the royal flame. Dangerous in the way that still water is dangerous, silent, deep, and hiding teeth. "Read," he said, in the tone of someone who found my name slightly distasteful. "The Queen will see you now." Of course she will. I followed him through the keep, emberlight trailing across the walls as the torches responded to our passing. The halls were vast, too vast, designed not for comfort but for awe. Every step echoed. Every ceiling arched so high it made you feel small. Insignificant. By design, the tapestries showed the rise of more Caley, before the great sundering. Dragons flying through skies of gold and fire. The birth of magic from the bones of the stars. The Queen's bloodline etched in silver thread, unbroken, impossibly long, as if to remind anyone with a scrap of ambition, you were late to the story. Beneath our feet, the floors were veined with luminous quartz, not just for beauty but as conduits for binding spells. I could feel them hum faintly, like a warning. When we reached the throne chamber, 2 guards stepped aside in perfect, mirrored motion. Their armor was black, trimmed in garnet, ceremonial, but real. The kind meant for dragonfire. One of them had no eyes. Magic pulsed in the sockets, swirling like ink dropped in water. I looked away. The doors opened. The Hall of Flame was nothing like the rest of Hollowspire. It was warm, alive. The marble glowed with veins of molten gold, and a ring of low fire circled the throne like a sleeping serpent. Magic moved in the air here, thick and heavy, like incense or memory. And on the throne, curved like the rib of a dragon, sat Queen Serena Caley, last of the Flameborn, heir of Ash. She was younger than I expected. Cold-eyed. Her skin was marked with a faint sigil that shimmered beneath the surface, the sign of her birthright, old fire twisted into flesh. Her voice could quiet storms, they said. She didn't smile when she saw me. Reed of nowhere, she said, voice low and clear. You've been dreaming of my city. She didn't ask. She knew. I bowed, not out of respect, but because no one ever survived not bowing. I see it when I sleep, I said, lifting my head. And when I'm awake. The queen leaned forward, resting her chin on one ringed hand. Every ring glowed with a different kind of fire, crimson, cobalt, green, silver. Dragon flames. Bound and stored. And do you know why you see it? No. She tilted her head slightly. That's a lie. I flinched. The Archmagister gave the smallest shake of his head, like someone watching a dog bite its own tail. I see the boy, I admitted. And the dragon. And the mountain breaking open. I see the end of something. But I don't know what it means. Queen Serena studied me like a puzzle missing its last piece. When the first dragons died, she said, almost to herself, the skies wept fire for a week. The ashes still lie deep in the heart of Caley. You have no right to see what you see. I didn't answer. I didn't have an answer. You'll go to Windmere, she said finally. Find the source of this bond. Find the boy, if what you've dreamed is true. She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't have to. If it was true, the world was about to change. And the fire would not go out again. The queen stood. It was like watching a flame rise, elegant, sudden, and sharp at the edges. The fire ring surrounding her throne lifted as she moved, arching over her head in a perfect crown of heat before settling back into the floor like it had never moved at all. Windmere is infected with old blood, she said, voice like iron beneath silk. It is the last city unclaimed by my will. Too chaotic, too free. She descended the steps, every footfall a silent command. I held still. Everyone in the chamber did. And now, she continued, circling me slowly, you tell me there's a boy there. One with fire in his veins and a dragon by his side. One who appears in dreams, your dreams, no less, untrained, unsworn, unknown. Her lips curled into something too small to be a smile. Do you know what that makes him? I didn't speak. A threat. She walked to the edge of the fire ring, gazing out the tall arched windows where sunlight filtered through red glass. Beyond the glass, I could see only fog and the vague outline of the mountains. I was born with fire magic, she said. But I earned control of it. I buried 3 rivals before I could speak a full sentence. I scorched the skin from my own brother's bones when he dared to claim my throne. She turned. No one is born with fire who does not also carry destruction. The boy must be taken. My jaw clenched. I'd seen Jace only in fragments, dreams scattered like burnt paper in the wind. But even in those brief glimpses, he didn't feel dangerous. Not like her. Taken? I asked carefully. Alive, if convenient, she said, waving a hand. Dead, if not. There was a silence that followed, long and slow and heavy. My stomach twisted. You want me to kill him? The queen regarded me coolly. I want him gone. What you choose to feel about it is your own indulgence. She stepped forward again. This close, I could smell the embers on her skin, the ancient dragon blood burning in her bones. You were nothing once, she said softly. But I plucked you from the ash. I gave you a name, a purpose. And now the stars spit fire into your head and show you visions meant for royals. Tell me, Reed, do you think they chose wrong? No, I lied. She nodded. Good. Behind me, the Archmagister moved toward a small silver pedestal, placing a folded piece of parchment upon it. The paper burned blue and vanished, a magical summons, encoded and sent directly to the royal enforcers stationed in Windmere. My heart sank. I'll go, I said. Of course you will, the queen murmured. You'll be my eyes, my knife in the dark. And if this boy is what the signs suggest. Her voice lowered, dangerous and delicate. Then you will be the one who ends him. Before he ends everything. She turned away again, her gown whispering across the marble like dying leaves. You leave tonight. No sigils, no crest, no flag. Take what magic you need. Choose your own shadows. And if he's not a threat? I asked, quieter. She didn't look back. He will be. I left the throne chamber with a cold weight in my chest. The queen's words echoed in my skull like a curse. She didn't just fear Jace's power. She feared what he represented. Old magic, untamed, unbroken. Fire born from nothing. A dragon choosing him. And somewhere inside me, that flicker of doubt, the one I'd buried, began to blaze. Because even in my dreams, Jace hadn't looked like a monster. He looked like someone alone. Someone lost. Someone, like me. And I didn't know if I was heading to save him. Or damn him.